And I'm going to live transcribe this. All right. Hi, everybody. So today we are going to talk about attendance. That's been a big contentions for a lot of people. So let's see if we can ask questions as we go, but let's walk through the attendance policies or the attendance procedures of our application, and also transferring students. Transferring students is the really easy part. I mean, that one's like a click of the button, but we do want to walk through attendance and kind of how to track that. So I'm going to share my screen and go back to my dashboard. Remember, this is the training site, so we have a few more privileges than you do in the real world, but we definitely can see most of what we can see, just maybe not a couple of things here and there. We've been working with Carol Danvers, so she's right here on my saved list. If not, remember we talked about last week on how to find somebody to search that person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Carol Danvers and I'm going to go from there. So remember also, we're in the training site, it takes a little bit longer when it comes to finding people. So bear with me as it goes through its little processes. So attendance, the procedures for going into attendance, or the procedures for the policy, sorry, the policy for getting attendance in is that you have ways of getting attendance. You can either do it daily, you can do it weekly, or you can do it in a bulk month attendance. It's up to you and what is easiest for you in your program. So you don't have to put it in daily, but you do have to, if the person leaves on the 10th, and that's the last day that they're in for that month, it does need to go in on the 10th. So you can't go on the 30th if their last day was the 10th. From here, we've gone into Carol Danvers. Does anybody remember where we go? Does any?
Wendy, that's a big change from the old system. The old system, we used to put them in monthly at the end of the month.
Yes, yes, we did, but we can still put them in monthly. And there's a reason why we put them in on the 10th if the 10th is the last day. Does anybody know why?
Because they get 90 days from there.
Because they get 90 days from there.
So
Yeah.
we can't cheat the system anymore and put them in on the 30th and just give an extra 20 days. Okay.
No, you should not. You should always put them in on their last day because of that 90-day mark in the soft exit, and to make sure that you're not giving them, if it's a 30-day window, they leave on the 10th, you're not giving them 120 days or 110 days.
Yeah.
Me and my math, you're giving them the actual 90 days that the federal government says that they get. So if that is their last day, then that's the day we need to put them in on. Okay, from here, what button do I push? Anybody? We don't remember?
I go to programs.
We go to programs. Yes, thank you, Linda. So you go to programs, and that's going to take us to everything that we need. Everything else is for other programs or other ways for the Job Center or for WIOA Title I, and that kind of stuff. Everything that we do besides the, building our classes and the reporting, everything we do with an individual, it lives in that program tab. So we always go to programs. If you go down, I already have it filtered for Title II. So there she is. And remember, we completed the application when we did the application webinar. So she's ready to go. I don't have to redo her application. She doesn't have a closure date or an exit date. She is open. I have a projected end date for her. I hit the plus sign right here to open her up. If it's not open, you can't see anything. You have to hit that plus sign to open it up. Hitting that plus sign I now have other options down here. And from here, we're going to go to class registration. That's what we're doing today, right? Class registration and attendance. So we can't do attendance until we register her for a class. So that's, if we go to do her hours, if you look on attendance hours, she will have 0, but that doesn't tell you anything. The attendance hours section is just basically a clicker. It just adds the hours, and it is a quick way for you to show, or for you to see how many actual hours she has and how many hours she has since her last assessment, she or he. In this case, she. So this is just a way for you to formally see it. The class registration part is where we want to start. So from here, I can look at her class schedule. She doesn't have anything. She has no records to display, or I can create and put her into some classes. Because this is a test site, there are some classes that are already out there, and we've already built you guys some classes, and a lot of you guys have built other classes already. So there are some classes in this test site. So I'm going to create a single or multiple class for her, and we're going to add her. So I'm going to click that create or multiple, create single or multiple class registration link, and it's going to take me to a search menu. Slowly. Okay, from here, you have to put in a registration date. Remember, we backed her registration up 2 months so that we could play around with her. I want to do the same thing here because I want to show you the attendance and how we can track attendance backwards. So I'm going to put her attendance instead of 11/6. I'm going to put it as 9/6. Let's go with that. And then down here, it says filter options. And if you go to, remember I'm in Southeast, so it's going to give me that already. If you go to filter classes, and I can look at the different classes, I'm going to look at Juno because I know there's classes in Juno. And you go to register her, it's not going to allow you to do so unless you click filter and actually find a class to register her in. You can filter it and find all the classes that are on the list, including ones that could potentially have ended in 9/2. This one I can't put her in, but I can go up here and I can put a class date of today, or I can put a class date of 9/6, and then I can find classes by filtering and finding classes that were active on that date or that are currently active versus all the ones that are in that system. You can also filter by different levels. If I wanted to put her in an IET class, or I wanted to put her in a pre-secondary class versus a basic skills class, I can filter those and then find only those classes that are available. But this one, I just want those open classes that are during this date, so it makes it easier. And then I can go down here and I can see that there's a couple of classes that begin 7/15 and then end at the end of the year, like this ESL level 2 or Wendy's basic math class. I can put her in basic math. I can also put her in Wendy's advanced class. You can tell who did these classes, right? I was very, I put my name on them so I could find them amongst all the other ones that you guys completed when we did the original training. This one ends, what is today? The 4th? No, the 6th. So it ended yesterday. I'm going to put her in this one because I'm going to show you that I can put, or let's do this one because this is one of my favorite ones that you guys created or somebody created, because it's spacewalking for beginners. So it is an alternative pathway class. And I just happen to like that title, whoever created that one. And then I'm going to put her in a math class. So let's just say she has secondary ed. And let's put her in one more. So this one ended a while ago, but let's put her in, oh, that one really ended Cooking for Dolphins, by the way. Let's just put her in a couple of these classes. I can put her in as many or as few as need be. And then from there, go down to the bottom and push register. Now this registers her for these classes, and then it's going to take me back to her registration, and it will show all the classes that we've registered her for. So if you go down, okay, there we go. If you go down a bit, I've registered her for 4 classes, and there are her classes right there. If I click this link, it should take me, this is the training site, so it should take me to her class schedule, and I can print this and I can give it to her because these are the days of the week that we're going to meet. It's going to be face-to-face or distance. It's going to be during these times. If you are doing that for your students and you're giving them a class schedule and you're doing your semester classes, or however you got it put into your system, you can print a schedule for your students and give them the schedule and tell them, you know what, on Mondays, we're going to meet here 1 to 2:30. This is going to be your schedule from 8 to 10:30. You're going to be in this class. These are the times that these classes meet for you. So you can print these. I'm going to cancel and go backwards. And that is registering a student for classes. It's as easy as that. It's quick and easy. Are there any questions on that so far? So you guys all have that down, no problem. Okay. So now's the big one, now's attendance. And I have attendance and I have Carol for several of these classes. If you have your teachers doing the attendance, maybe you're in there and you're creating these, maybe you're the data entry person or the program coordinator and you're putting them in these classes, and then your teacher is actually making sure that their attendance is in there, however you guys have them set up. But in this one, I have, well, it's my class. So Wendy's awesome math class, and I'm going to do the attendance for this one. If I go in, I have all the information for her, and I can see, I'm going to go back. I can see that today, if I click on today, at the bottom, it's going to pop up this. Hopefully it's working on your side. We've had a couple of issues with attendance, but hopefully it's now working. And if there's some issues going on, we think we've solved it. And Holly's going to be doing some testing to see if we have solved some issues with attendance. And then we'll let you know if we have come up with some brainstorming activities around that. As you can see, I've put on this class, these are the times that we meet Monday through Thursday. We don't have class on Friday. Maybe she's doing some distance ed on Friday. Maybe she's doing some distance ed on Saturday, but as you can see, I cannot put any attendance in on Saturday because it's not Saturday. We're not there yet. I can't put anything that I don't know where she's at on Saturday yet, because it hasn't happened. So there's no way of putting attendance there. However, I do know that today, even though there's not any class, I know she was on there for 2 hours this morning. Let's put a 2 there. Let's see. And this week, I also know that even though I didn't have class here, I still can use Friday as my placeholder, and I can count the week and I can say, well, you know, this week, I know she had 2 hours. If you're doing it by the day, you're going to put daily attendance. So maybe 2 hours here. Maybe she was in the class for an hour here. It's an hour class. I can't put a 2. An hour here, and then you're going to update, right? So she has 4 hours. If you're doing it by the week, you can use Friday as your placeholder and add up the attendance for all week. So maybe she doesn't have an hour here or here. Maybe she has 2 hours and 2 hours and update, and now you have the total 4 hours. Okay, any questions? Okie dokie. You can go previous week and go that way and find the previous weeks. Or you can go back to the calendar and look for the calendar. I'm going to go with her. I'm going to go back to October, and I'm going to add up, whoops.
How far can we go back, Wendy?
You should be able to go back 45 days. 45 days is your threshold. And the reason why it's 45 days is because you're supposed to have everything in by the 15th of the following month. So if you're doing it monthly and you're looking at October and you're going to input all of October's month to month to month, so you're looking at all of October's, you have until November 15th, which is in the policies, to do so. So we gave you guys a 45-day window. We didn't take that away if you were doing it daily or by the week. We still gave you that 45 days to go back and get that done.
Okay, here's a question you probably already answered, and it's probably in your policy. If our students are doing, let's say they have a distance education form filled out.
Okay.
And they've gotten on a computer and internet, and they're able to do the GED Ready practice test. Do they get an hour for each test that they did, or is that not going to count?
Are you using it? Are you using the GED Ready to drive instruction, or are you using it to practice for the GED test?
Well, it always drives instruction.
Okay. Well, as long as it's using it to drive instruction. So I have to make that distinguishing fact there. If it's driving instruction, how long is that student on there taking that test? Are they on there an hour, or are they on there an hour and a half? Or are they on there 45 minutes? What is the time that they're actually on that test?
So they, whatever their actual time is taking the test, they can count as distant ed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Linda, did you have a question?
It was yeah, I have a question, but it's not really about that. I was just wondering if I missed the case notes thing, or that's like a makeup you're going to do on another day.
I'm going to make that up. I'm going to put it on the end and make sure that we get to the case notes, and we're going to pray that the electricity doesn't go out again here, because it went out yesterday about a half hour after my meeting on Zoom yesterday. So it's went out 3 times this week. So let's hope. And it's not snowing at my house, but it's snowing at Donna's. So we'll see.
Okay, I thought I missed it. That's why. Okay.
Nope,
thanks.
not yet. I will make sure that it gets out there and we get it on the schedule. So, okay, so I can go backwards 45 days, and I can go back to this person's September-ish timeframe. And let's go to the end of September. And I'm going to put in a month-long attendance, and I've got to be very careful with the attendance for this one. So, and I'll show you why. So I've already put in 4 hours of attendance, I do believe. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to put in, let's say September 30th, I'm going to put in another, let's say that, let's give her 4 here and let's give her 2 here. And I'm going to update it. And now she's got attendance for September, and then she wasn't here the total month of October, but she's got attendance for November in there, and that's fine because she wasn't gone for 90 days, so she's going to stay active. It's the 90-day mark that she's not. But with the way that this is set up, it won't let me put in any more attendance because I put in 6, I put in 10. I can actually put 2 more hours in. I'm going to go to October 31st, and I'm going to try to put attendance in here. I'm going to put in, I can put in 2 hours of distance ed, and if I try to put in 2 more hours, it's going to tell me I cannot. And the reason being is because of the rule in Alaska that you have to have a pretest prior to that 12 hours of attendance hours. It will not let me put in any more attendance. So I've got to put in the pretest before I can add any more attendance. And I don't for this one because we have not got to that training yet. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Okay. This includes all attendance. So if I wanted to go back, if I wanted to return to the program tab slowly because it's thinking, I wanted to go and try to put attendance in her other classes. If I wanted to go into her spacewalkers class or into her reading class, I could not because she has 12 hours of attendance already. So I can't add any more attendance until I add an assessment for Carol. Okay, but she's doing really well. So that's how to add attendance. And like I said, you should be able to go back 45 days in which to do so. It shouldn't be a problem. If it is, you need to let Donna know because we're trying to work out some things to make sure that we've got them right. But she's doing really good in cooking for dolphins. So now I'm going to transfer her because she no longer needs to be in this class because she's excelling. So if you click this transfer button right here, and this goes really well for your reading to reading classes or your math to math classes, especially the ones that are in your lower level math and you want to move them up into a more advanced math or, you know, a different math, or they're in your orientation class and you want to move them into an actual class. This button right here will do the transferring for you. So you click on a transfer button and it's pretty easy. All you have to do is you're already going to transfer this student. You need to put the date that you're going to transfer them. I'm going to put today. I'm going to transfer her out today. What class you're going to transfer her into. So I'm going to keep it in Juno. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to make sure that the class is active as of today. And then I'm going to filter to find a class. And let's see, I can put her into, I know this does not make any sense, but I can put her in this ESL level 2 class. I can select it. It highlights it for me. There's no students in there right now. Oop. So you can see that it's not full. That class is not full and there's plenty of room to transfer her into that class. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to click transfer and it is successful. And on her schedule now, and you can send her this new schedule, she is no longer in Cooking for Dolphins. As of today, she's done there, 9/6. She was done, or she was entered into there, but she's no longer active today because it was successfully completed. She's done out of that class and she's now in, as of today, she's now active in this ESL level 2 class. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that? Okay, so if I want to print her a class schedule, you can see that the ESL class is now on there. ESL level 2. And the Cooking for Dolphins is not on her schedule anymore. It takes that one away because she's no longer in that class, so that she's no longer confused. Okay. So that's how to do attendance for a person going one by one by one. And then we also have managing attendance. And I don't think we also have bulk managing attendance, and that's a couple weeks away when we go through managing adult ed. But this is it. It's a half-hour training. It's super easy. Well, it's supposed to be easy, but now questions. Seems to be where you guys are getting tripped up the most, I think. This is where we get the most questions. So I really want to give you time to ask any questions that you have in this section.
So when the conference happened, I remember us doing trying to do attendance and the boxes were grayed out. Did we ever find out what the technical issue with that was?
I don't, Chris. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if it was a user error, which it very well could have been, or if it was something going on with the training site, because I was in the training site, so I'm not sure. But you can see that they're open, and we've done testing to open them back up to 45 days for you guys. So you should not see anything besides that. Like I said, we got Holly doing some testing for us. She was supposed to before the outage. Like, she was the first one that noticed the outage because I was on the phone with her, and then it was like, oh, never mind. So Holly is going to do some training for me, and because let me see if I can remember what training or some testing that we have her doing. There is some stuff that hit hers, and when we found it, and this might be beneficial for you guys to know too, when we looked at some of Fairbanks, Donna and I looked back at applications, and we're not sure if this is a fix, but we're definitely going to test it. On some of the completed conversion applications, when they came over into the VOS system, they're missing this very first application part, this intro part. They're missing the LWDB region, they're missing the office location, the office of responsibility, and this grantee information. They were missing this information. The reason why that is so important is because you guys as staff are tied to these regions. You guys are tied to these job centers. You guys are tied to these grantees. So if you're trying to get in and you're trying to do attendance or you're trying to manage these individuals and this information is missing, and we're seeing it on our side and we're saying, well, we can't figure out why you can't see it because we're able to do something, but you're not. Go back here and make sure that this information is filled out. And if not, fill it out, and all you have to do is click the next button down here because that automatically saves it. Because we're finding, well, we found with Holly, and like I said, Holly's going to do some testing for us to make sure that this is accurate, that it can't tie you to this grantee and put you in the right spot because it doesn't know. So this could be some of the problem with your guys' attendance issues. Does that make sense? Any other questions?
Wendy, the TABE is under the assessments, right?
The TABE is under the assessments, yes, and I think we talk about assessments next week
Okay.
and how those go in there. But yes, they're all under this assessment area.
Thanks.
I was going to call it a plus sign, but area sounds better. Any questions on how to transfer somebody, how to add attendance, how to edit them, anything like that on this particular class registration section?
Sorry, for a moment, did you talk about the classes that were closed and adding attendance to those?
Adding attendance to closed classes?
Some of them were having trouble adding attendance, but it was because the classes were closed. And I see that you chose some of them
That were closed?
that way.
Okay, you've got a really good point, Donna. So I did choose this 1015 class, so this pre-GED reading class. And so if I try to go in and I try to add attendance to this one, and I'm going to add attendance today, which is 11/6. It should not, although it's allowing me, it shouldn't let me add any attendance. When was it closed? Did I say 10/15?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Am I in
That
October?
could be one of the privileges.
Oh, it
But the
could be
date
one of
that
the
you're on-
privileges. It could be a privilege that I'm on, that it's
The
allowing me
date
to do that.
You were on, Wendy, was 10:15, so it wasn't closed yet where you were doing attendance.
I'm in November though.
But when you bring up
Oh,
actual
down
calendar,
here. You're right.
Yeah.
Ha ha. Good catch. Okay, so it won't let me go any further than that week of 10/15. Like I can hit next week and that class won't let me go any further in that week because it's a closed class. So I can go up and I can hit 11/6 all I want, which is today. And it's still going to take me to the week of 10/15 because that's the last date of that class. That class is closed. So that's one issue that you guys have run into and you're like, hey, that won't let me take. I've tried to put in attendance for, October, but it won't let me go past September. And we've talked some programs through, well, the class was closed in September, so you cannot go past that September date with attendance. So in order to do anything about that, you're going to have to go back into that class, edit that class and extend it, or you're going to have to create a new class for that student. Questions on that?
Hey, Wendy, this is Karen.
Hey, Karen.
I have a question. So I'm working from home and Victor is at Highland. So if I were to help him with inputting the attendance, how can we be able to share the same students?
You should be able to see both. You guys should be able to see those students. And you guys should be able to add the hours to both of those students. So,
so if he does the information to get them into the system, I would be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you should be able to see those students. So you guys are under the same grant. And
Right.
you should be able to see any students that are under your grant in order to work with those students.
Okay.
So if Victor is working with John Doe and you're at home and you're inputting all the data for John Doe and he says John Doe has 10 hours, you should be able to come down here and just put 10 on there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on attendance? Okay, hearing no other questions, Monday, fingers crossed, Monday is the 9th, and we're doing creating and editing assessments. So Monday we'll talk about TABE, we'll talk about BEST, and we will talk about CASAS. So how do we input those? How do we edit them? And what do we do if we get an assessment that is integrated, such as TABE, and we have the wrong numbers? What do we do? So we'll play around with TABE, we'll play around with BEST, and we'll play around with CASAS on Monday. Hearing no other questions, that was kind of a short training, so thank you guys.
Thanks much, Wendy. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you guys too.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Wendy.
you, Wendy.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.